Hello and welcome to Development Days. Today we are going to understand the topic which is named as recursion. So there are basically three questions which arise in our minds. First one is what is recursion? Second one, how to detect recursion? And third one, how to solve recursion. First question, the very first question which is what is recursion? As per the definition, function calling itself is called recursion, right? It means a function which is self-obsessed is recursion, right? Let's suppose you have given a task of inserting a few records into the database. So what you can do, you can create an insert script, and again by changing the value itself, you can insert that record into the database. What that exactly called? That is exactly called recursion because recursively you are executing an insertion method for database, right? Each and every queries is same, just like in which table you are going to insert, what syntax you are going to follow, all that will be same. Only the particular value which you are taking to insert into the database, that will only change. This is the best example for the recursion, right? But here there is one catch also. There is some end goal. If there is not any end goal, that is infinity activity, and that will not exactly as recursion. So what end goal here it is? Let's suppose someone has asked you to insert few records into the database. Then what is that few? Few should be a number, just like 10 records, 20 records. Means if you have executed the 19th record and 20th record is the last record. So post executing 20th record, you can collect all the output whichever came post inserting all the records and share it to the person who has asked you to do this activity. So getting a work to do and reporting that work collectively post doing all that activity is what recursion is. How to detect a recursion? Let's suppose you are following a method, and that method only input variable is being changed again and again, and at some point of time there is one end goal also. If there is any end goal, so first point you need to check is that method is having any end goal with that particular method. Let's suppose there is one method which is again and again executing, and that method itself is giving an end goal. Then first there should be an end goal. Or second, there should be a continuous change into the value, not a random change into the value. Only continuous change into the value. Let's suppose let's suppose any value which is coming again and again and it is changing by some difference that is already decided. If it is already decided, so we can call it that this method can be resolved, this problem can be resolved using recursion. How to solve recursion problem? Okay, let me give you a very famous example which is of factorial. So for the factorial I'm going to give you an example. Let's suppose I want to get a factorial response of factorial of 5. Let's suppose 5 for 5 we are going to value. So how we used to write factorial? 5 exclamatory mark. This is the value of factorial. So how in mathematical term how we are going to get that? 5 factorial is equal to 5 into 4 into 3 into 4 into 2, sorry, 3 into 2 into 1, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is what our factorial will look like. Let's suppose give me 4 factorial. 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 factorial. 3, 2, 1. 2 factorial. 2, 1. 1 factorial. 1. 0 factorial. Only the positive value, for the positive value we will get the factorial. And here you can see for 0 the factorial value will be 1. It is constant, and this is your end, right? Now first point which we have to take care is end already decided. Yes, it is decided. Next, is there any continuous change? Continuous change. So we have to now find out the continuous change. For 5, Let me check. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3 is there. 4, 3, 2, 1 is there. For 4, 4, 3, 2, 1 is there. For 3, 3, 2, 1 is there. For 2, 2, 1 is there. For 1, 1 is there. So can we do the activity just like if we want to fetch the 5 factorial value? So can we write that like 5 into 4 factorial? Yes, it is. If we want to take the factorial of 4, so can we write it 4 into 3 factorial? If we want to take the factorial of 3, can we write it as 3 into 2 factorial? Can we write, if we want to take the factorial of 2, then can we write it 2 into 1 factorial? And for the 1, as we all know, for the 1 and for the 0, as we all know, the factorial value will be 1 itself. The return should be 1. So here 2 points. Let me check the 1 factorial also. And 1 factorial will be 1. And for 1 factorial and for 0 factorial, 0 factorial, the value should be 1. So there are 2 and goal which can give us the correct output. Right? So for this particular task, only the variable is changing. First was 5 factorial, then was 4 factorial, then was 3 factorial, then 2 factorial, then 1 factorial, then 0 factorial. It means in the factorial method itself, it's just assume it's a normal method, and in that particular method itself, only this particular value is changing again and again. 5 factorial, 4 factorial, 3 factorial, 2 factorial, 1 factorial, 0 factorial. All this collectively will give you the output for 5 factorial, right? So what we have to do? First, we have to follow the basic. What is the basic for this particular? If n, what is n? This is n, right? If n is equal to 0, then return 1, right? Let's suppose we have found the 1 zeroth factorial and it has returned as 1. So now for 1 factorial, it will again return, for 1 factorial, what it will return? It will return as 1. And 1, here you can see, into 1 into 2 is equal to 2. So 2 factorial will be 2. It has removed 3 into 2 is equal to 6. 3 factorial has been removed. 4 into 6 is equal to 24. And this has also removed. 5 into 24 is equal to, tell me, 120. Right? This is what your expected output is. For getting 5 factorial, for this, let's suppose it is a brute force method. Let's suppose I am following the brute force method. What is brute force method? By hook or by crook, we want to get output as 120. And for if we change this particular value, the value should be changed accordingly. Right? This is what I mean by hook or crook. Okay. Let me follow the first brute force method. What is written over here? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If I am taking for loop, and for that particular for loop int I is equal to 5, which is the nth, or we can take it as n. Here n is equal to 5. Then what I have to take? I is greater than equal to 5. I minus. You have to decrease this value. And what activity you have to perform? Let's suppose I should take a result is equal to 1. This is also integer variable. Okay. So for result is equal to result into, because result is 1, result into I. For 5, let's suppose I is 5. For 5, here value will be 5 into result is 1. So it will be 5. So first we have got 5. Then result 5 has been stored. In result 5 has been stored. Okay. Now value has been decremented 4. For 4, what need to do? 4 need to be multiplied into 5. This result has been changed into 20. Then this again 4 will be decremented. It will be 3 into result value, which is 20. So what it will give you? 60. Then again it will be incremented to 2. 2 into 60 is equal to 120. Now what I have to do? this 2 will be decremented to 1. Sorry, this should be greater than 0. Okay, should be greater than 0. I am taking it, this was my mistake. This should be a greater than 0. Okay, now we are having 20 and this value is 1. So 120 into 1 is equal to 120 and this was your output. Okay, this was the brute force method, right? Let me take the very next method which is not brute force and which is recursive method. Okay, for this particular recursive method, what I have to do, here I have taken n as 5. You can see. Then in result we will get the value res. In result we are going to get the value of factorial of n. What is n? Here 5 will be n. Okay, n is equal to 0, means 5 is equal to 0. False. Again what I have to do? I have to take this. Okay, let me take it as like this. I am following this over here. N is equal to 5 factorial of n minus 1 into fact I am writing f n minus 1 4. Okay, then this should be again derived as, first what we have to check, 4 is equal to 0, this particular first point, this particular second point. Let me check it. First point, 4 is equal to 0, false. Second point, 4 which is n into fact of 4 minus 1 which is 3. Again we have to, for this particular we have to fetch again the traverse. If you are going to follow this particular diagram also, then you will also get to know what exactly the solution it is. First you write a brute force method, and if you are seeing the continuous change is available and end goal is available, then you can follow the recursive method. This is the main target you need to take care. First you try to do directly, you do not try to make that any method recursively. First try to find out the brute force method, and through that brute force method you need to drive your brute force method into recursive method. Now for F3 what I have to take, 3 is equal to 0, false. Second point, 3 into fact of 2. Now again we have to check, for this 2 is there, 2 is equal to 0, false. Second point, 2 into fact of 1. For this particular task you have to take care, 1 is equal to 0, false. Second, what you need to check, 1 into fact of 0, and fact of 0 is furthermore will be rectified as 0 is equal to 0. Yes, it is true. And if it is true, then it is going to return as 1. So this has completed and it has returned as 1. So 1 into 1 is equal to 1. This has also completed because there is no further task for this. 1 has came to this side, and this 1 into 2 will conclude as 2, and 2 will be transferred to this place. Now 3 into 2 is equal to 6. This has also completed. 6 will come over there. 6 into 4 is equal to 24. This will also completed. And at this place 24 is there. Now result of this particular function call will give you this. Here 24 will be multiplied to 5 and that will result to 120. This is also completed and this will be returned, and as you can see, integer value. So it is will be stored into result. So what it has stored, return as result as 120. Now 120 will be printed and this is your desired output you need to find out. Right? This was all the target which we have to see. Now you can see here we were searching about the 5 factorial. Here we were searching about the 4 factorial. Here we were searching about the 3 factorial. Here we were searching about 2 factorial. Here we were searching about the 1 factorial. And here we were searching about the 0th factorial. Right? Everything has been returned to its particular function call or method call. And then finally it has returned, and that particular method is completed now. You can see, if it is not completed, it can be evaluated. No. So for this particular point, if n minus 1 into n minus 2 fact of n minus 2, without completion of this, can this be concluded? No. So this is what recursively again and again we are calling this particular method is called recursion. The method will be a normal method. Only this type is called recursion. Recursion means what it will do. As you can see, it has saved your time. Because let's suppose if we are going to write a for loop and that is going to take a 100 records. So for that 100 records, you are going to do the evaluation, right? That for that particular, you need to know the concept of for loop as well, and you need to do evaluation for that. So it was the basic question, and because of that, you are able to compare that. You can also assume that for loop is far better than this recursive method. For this particular time, for loop is very much recursive. But let me, you can at your own please find the time complexity of this and space complexity for this particular problem. Also, you can see if you are having a huge number of factorial you want to get, and you have already taken the factorial of 4 and you want to two times you want to get the factorial. So what you can do, let's suppose someone has asked you to evaluate factorial of 5 plus factorial of 3, right? Let's suppose if you have first evaluated this value, factorial of 3 you have evaluated, and you have stored the value of factorial 3. What is the value of factorial 3? Which is 6. You have stored it as 6. So at some point of time, 5 into 4 factorial, further 4 into 3 factorial. And for this particular 3 factorial, you already know the value which is stored over here. Through here, we can get the value of 3 factorial if it is stored into your database. And here you can get 6. So in 3 steps and by 1 step, which you have already done, you can get your desired output. So why we have came into the recursion? Recursion will give you a set of resolution of a set of problem, and you can store that particular resolution into your database or like hash map, but wherever you want to store. If you are going to store that particular value response of that particular value, so once you will do the calculation of factorial of 5, then you need to only do 2 iterations, and in the very second iteration, you already know your data. So you do not need to do first this evaluation and this evaluation. Let's suppose you are following the for loop. So for loop, first you need to complete this activity and then you need to complete this activity, right? I think your concept is clear why we are using this recursion. This question is also clear to you. For today, this was it. Each and everything, whatever I have discussed is it right now. So this was it. So in very next lecture, we will try to close some more questions based on recursion. Thank you for watching my video. And if you have watched the video, I request you all do like and subscribe my video so that I can get motivated with that. Thank you and have a nice day.